Right, welcome back to another episode. We're going to get the dashboard fitted today with all the new bits I've got. The paint is fully dry. I've uncovered the tractor. I'm going to have to do a bit of polishing here because I've been painting in the same room, and although it's been covered up, it's got quite a lot of dust on it. It'll all polish up okay though, so I'm not concerned about that. It's just a bit annoying that I've got to do that. But we're going to get the dashboard fitted properly this time. I've painted it again. Looks good. Paint's dry and everything in here is covered in dust, but that's all right. I'll bring you in close to the dashboard. Let me adjust that for you. I think you can see that. Possibly. We'll see. Right, I've left most of the brackets in place. So all we've got to do is throw that on the floor down there. Let me pick that back up. That is our throttle lever. Now I'm sure I've mentioned before, I'm not painting the throttle lever. That's 50 years of patina there. We'll keep that. It was never painted from new either, so short of polishing it up and it would look stupid. So we're not going to. I've got to try and remember how this goes together. Something like this. I'm not going to give a running commentary on this because, well, I don't know whether I already covered it in the last video. Hang on, that's got to go under that, something like that. Okay, I'll leave that there. Right, I did paint the screws, but I have gone to the trouble. I've ordered new chromey screws. These come from the MG Owners Club. It was the only place I could see them. Well, there's probably hundreds of places you can buy these, but I happen to know MG Owners Club sold them. Chromey headed screws. Let's see if we can get one in there. Just to hold that in place. We only want one at the moment. I've got the wiring loom in place. It's really annoying that the dust is on everything, but it's winter and I can't do anything outside, and I can see on the camera it looks like my hair's all stuck up. Time to get the wife to trim it. Right, and we got this bit. Luckily these haven't been in here, so they've not got covered in dust. Hang on, wrong way round. Wrong way round. That way round. Right, this is quite a faff, this dashboard. Throw that screw down there. In fact, if I leave that there a minute. Oh, I see. Caught on the wiring loom. There we go. And that little plate. And I will do my best not to scratch it all up this time. And I've got these little screws. Let me get a screwdriver for that. Done nothing but rain here for days. Screwdriver. Actually, I already got one out, didn't I? I already got one out. I don't know whether I mentioned, but I want this started, so we're probably going to have some kind of Christmas Day episode on this. of starting it up, which I'm quite excited about. Let's get them in there. Now we can pull that up. One of them in there. One of them in there. One in there. And one in there. Oh, they look much better. I had all the nuts and bolts there. If I can find all the nuts and bolts. There's one. Much happier with the paint finish this time. If I feel like I really need to, I might come back and address the paint in the summer, but I don't think I'm going to need to. I think that's just being OTT. That one in there. I just thought I'd throw this out as a quick video today. Gets all these parts off my pool table, which is their official home. Stops me scratching them up. I did cover all this up with sheets, but anyone that's done painting work knows that paint dust gets everywhere. So there's only so much you can do with it. Right, that bracket there. I've even got little screws. I used nuts and bolts last time, but it just didn't look right. Wasn't happy with it. So I am using little chrome screws. I still haven't mended this bracket that the bonnet straps to, because it's easy to whip out later on and sort that out. I just want to get this tractor to the position where we can start her up. Is that a little screw? That is a little screw. This one might be too long. I might have to trim him down, because the one that come out's quite short. But he's looking fine there at the moment. We'll put one in that side, then we can tighten them up. I've got to order some new nuts and bolts as well. I am running out of nuts and bolts. I did mend yesterday. I think I've mended the diesel leak from the diesel pump. It was just an O-ring. So I've put a new O-ring in. But yet again, I might have to come back and look at that, depending on how it goes when she's running. But these are all little snaggy bits that we can come back to, as is the polishing it. I shall come down and polish it over Christmas, I expect, when I'm bored. It'll probably come off with a good jet wash, but I'm not venturing outside to do that anytime soon. Okay, that is our dashboard more or less in. Screw those two down. I've got all new gauges and new switches, because they were a bit ratty looking. Give that a tweak. Hopefully none of this has got to come out again. But fourth time was the charm on the dashboard. There, that is that. Yeah, right, let's get some. I'll just duck around my little wind chime of diesel pipes that are behind the camera here. You'll see them in the next video. But we got a new oil pressure gauge. And I won't bore you in this video with connecting all the wires up, because you won't see in there anyway. And I'll have to buzz a lot of those wires out. Luckily they are all colour coded, but some of these reproduction switches don't have the same wiring. Or at least, I don't know, they might have. They might have. I'll have to make sure that I don't store this out in the rain again, because the gauges aren't that waterproof. I'll have to fiddle with the oil pressure. Now I actually bought a new temperature gauge for this about a year ago, but it got wet and misted up, so I bought a new one. Now I don't think the diesel 154s came with a temperature gauge from new, because I see a lot of them on the internet haven't got them, and I'm sure I read somewhere only the petrol engine models had them, but someone's fitted one and it seems like a pretty good upgrade to me to have a temperature gauge, so I'm fitting one. And we got a new light switch, although it's only a 4-position switch and not a 5-position switch as per the original, but that's okay, we can live with that. I have got the original switch over there on the bench, which if I get bored one weekend I might sit there and try and recreate it. God, that's a tight fit. God, that's a really tight fit. Right, we might have to do a little bit of filing on that one. I don't know whether you saw in the last video, but I got a new speedo tachometer. I don't know what they're called, but we got one. I got the new light switch. The most annoying thing about the light switch is there's a little peg on the shaft which holds the knob in place, and it's actually in the wrong place. So I'm going to have to do something with that. I'll probably cut the little peg off and glue it on. Oh, forgot a piece there. Hang on, get that cloth. We got the little plate that gives you the positions of the light switch. We haven't got the plough position anymore. We've got side lights, side and dipped, side and main, and most of the reproduction plough lights have got an on-off switch on them. So I'll just plumb the plough light up separate on its own switch, and then it won't matter. Looks the same to look at it, but that gives us an on-off switch, and I've got the knob here somewhere. And no, the knob's not me. Right, I'll the light switch will be in the wrong position, but I'm going to put it on anyway. That is the light switch. Now I have got to find the ammeter. Which I'm sure I've got here somewhere. Here is the ammeter. Again, I brought this new. But I don't think there was actually anything wrong with the old one. In fact, I'm not even sure this is the new one. It's the one we're using at the moment. But we might have to get a... Well, we're not going to have to get a newer one. I'll live with it. That could do with a wipe off. Have I got some dashboard spray or something up there? Let me have a look. I think I've exhausted my useful things on this shelf up here. This workshop will be having an almighty clean up in the new year. As soon as my brother's recovery truck's built and out the way, we'll get on with it. Right, there is the rubber. That doesn't look too bad actually. But I'm sure this isn't the new ammeter. Although it could be. Right, we've got to try and... ammeter. Right, we've got a horn switch here, which does need a wipe off, because I hadn't covered that up. The horn has never worked on this tractor since I've owned it, so that'd be nice. There's our horn switch. I want to be round that side really. Horn switch. Have painted the fuel tank. That's painted over there. It wants a... When I painted the fuel tank, I hung it from the rafters like I do everything else, but for some reason I didn't think about it. I hung it upside down. So the side that was hard to get to with the paint gun was the bit you see. But what I might do is once I fitted it, I might mask that off and repaint it. Well, it's going to want a second coat anyway, but what I'm saying is I'll do that on the tractor, because there's nothing goes on the top of it. I've lost my ignition switch. Here we are. Ignition switch found. Got a new ignition switch. This is where I messed up before on the dashboard and scarred the paint right up fitting this. It doesn't quite match the original. Size wise, I mean. So you've got to do it up really tight or it will spin. But I'm not going to do any of these up really tight yet. I'm in no hurry to. I can give it a few more weeks. And what really annoys me is I've got a blemish where I welded that unused hole up. But but I've got an idea of how to cure that. I think. I'm using the original glow plug light because it works, and the modern ones just look a bit rubbish. But I've polished him up. He can go in. Glow plug light. Right, the last fitting. We get the water temperature gauge in shortly. And the last bit, which this tractor has never had on it, is the pull to stop knob. The engine run quite bad before, so all you had to do was drop the throttle back to nothing and it would die. But hopefully that won't be the case anymore. Pull to stop. You still with me? This is cutting edge stuff, this is. Right, a pull to stop knob. Right, let's get that temperature gauge fitting properly. The next video we'll be installing the diesel pump. All the diesel pipes, fuel filter and everything. We'll get the rocker cover on. Then we can crank her over and get some oil pressure going on. Now where is this catching? Let me drop that there a minute. I'm not going to force it in and break something. I'll get a file, I'll just clean up the edges a bit. Try that. That's all it took. Wow, that looks pretty splendid, doesn't it? But now these are in, I can get all the wiring plumbed in. I can sort the throttle linkage out. Route all the pipes and hoses properly. Not hoses, the oil pressure pipe and whatnot. Not too shabby at all. There, that's looking pretty good. Now I've brought a new steering wheel. But I might use my original steering wheel yet. Doesn't seem to fit even closely there. Oh no, it does fit. It's just tight. I could do with cleaning up that edge though. I may clean up the old original steering wheel. It's just got a couple of cracks in the middle, but I might be able to fill them. But they're not that different really. The original one maybe you could say was a little better looking, but it's minimal. Duck round me diesel pipes. Is that enough to get that nut on? What size is that nut? Seven-eighths. I think that wants like a washer. I might get hold of a stainless steel washer to put under that. Just to neaten it up. Right, I'm not going to wind that anymore on that because I just prefer the original steering wheel. Right, we got some brackets for the speedo here somewhere. Duck around the diesel pipes. There we go. I see we're at 79 subscribers. I might have to up the ante. I'll have to put a poll up, see who thinks the engine will run. Of course the engine will run like brand new. I hope. There we go. Tighten those up. Like I said, I'm not going to film me connecting all these wires up in the back. You'll just see a video of the back of my head grunting for an hour. There's not really a lot to see in there, unless your head's in there. But that is the dashboard. Let me take you off and show you. There we go. We got our light switch. We got water temperature, oil pressure, rev counter, ignition, glow plug light. Very pleasing. But yes, I've got to sort all of the mess out round the back. I've also got up there, I hope this isn't too shaky, I haven't put the steady shot on. I've got all the diesel pipes hung up here, and I've painted up the diesel pump best I can. I haven't put too much effort into that, because I have my suspicions it might be broken, but it should get us running. And yeah, that is the next video we got to do, is plumb all of these diesel pipes in. The fuel tank is down there. I did cover it up with sheets, but like everything else, it's got this cover of dust on it. So I'm going to have to sit here with me cloths and probably a bottle of tea cut or something and trim all that off. But our dashboard is on, and the more I look at this steering wheel, I'm not going to be keeping the steering wheel. Hopefully Tractor Spare Parts will take that back and swap it for some more parts. But there is our cockpit, so to speak, looking good. Okay, it's been a busy week the last week, so I haven't done as much filming as I'd like, but I have got progress made. I'm sorry I haven't filmed putting this together, but it's pretty dull. It's just assembling stuff. I've got the hydraulic oil tank painted, the rocker cover painted, the fuel filter housing is in place. I've got all the diesel pipes on. The fuel tank is in place, although I still want to give the top of this another coat of paint. I don't know why, but when I hung it up to paint it, I hung it up upside down. So the bottom looks excellent, but the top, it just wants a little bit more work. In fact, I think it just wants another coat of paint on it. The dashboard is all together. I'll bring you in. I'll bring you in. There we go, somewhere there. I'm not using this reproduction steering wheel. I am going to mend the original steering wheel and fit that. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just not quite as elegant looking as the original. But we got all new gauges, switches and dials. That's all sorted. Diesel pipes. Excuse me carrying you around here, but it's just easier than taking the camera off the tripod. I've got the diesel pump on and all the diesel pipes. Still got to paint the dynamo, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. I've still got to wire in all this stuff on the dash, connect cables and whatnot. There's no throttle linkage on it yet. I don't need that to start it. I've still got to clean the fuel filter housing up. And because I'm sad, I've ordered a new fuel filter from eBay that's got the Leyland sticker on it. But like I said, we've got our hydraulic oil tank. The rocker cover is on. We're basically ready to have a go at starting it. The main thing I'm missing is the oil filter housing. That's in the parts washer. I've got to clean that up and paint that this week. But yeah, diesel pipes have gone on. Let me pull you out of there. That'll make you feel sick. So yeah, that's where we are. I've got the exhaust manifold cleaned up and I've painted that with high temperature manifold paint, but I've run out. I'm going to have to order another can. But yeah, we are basically ready to think about starting this up. I'm going to do that on Christmas Day because I'm here all day for the family dinner and whatnot. So I am going to get this running. I want a radiator on, so when it does start I can run it up to temperature. The radiator won't be painted, but it'll be on enough to hold some water. But yeah, still got lots to do on the tractor. including giving it a good polish because it's covered with dust and overspray. But I feel like I am getting somewhere now. My boxes of parts are diminishing quickly. And yeah, so Christmas Day, it'll probably be early afternoon. We'll fire it up. Try and fire it up and hope it doesn't leak all its oil out across the floor. Yeah, there we go. Apologies again that I haven't shown you me assembling all of this, but it is pretty standard stuff. It's just nuts and bolts. Nothing really interesting yet. But yeah, thanks for watching and bearing with me. And please do tune in Christmas Day. And we'll hear the mighty beast roar. And hopefully it won't leak all its oil out across the floor. Or something more catastrophic. And if something catastrophic, I'm doing it by a live stream. Because A, I want to try out a live stream. And B, I don't want people going, oh, you started it beforehand. I haven't turned this engine over since I fitted it, other than by hand. I'm doing it all on live stream. All my errors and cock-ups will be on camera for all to see. So hopefully there are none. And I can stand there and look like I'm all knowing and intelligent. But yeah, thanks for watching. Tune in Christmas Day and we'll see if we can make some smells. So thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.